Hi everyone and welcome back to another Mixed Media Tuesday. And today I'm focusing on a background technique, which I call the baby wipe technique. So it is a very simple and easy method to create backgrounds in minutes, and all you need is a baby wipe and some acrylic paint. So here I'm starting with the color of acrylic paint. I go with a very light one and I'm just dabbing my baby wipe and I'm going directly on top of my page. I'm working on my art journal, which has watercolor paper inside. I haven't prepped the paper at all. I'm going directly with a baby wipe. Just because it is wet, it allows for that paint to spread out, but it doesn't give you the perfect background. Look how you have lighter and darker areas, which is exactly what we are going for. Now I'm going to move on to a slightly darker color, and I like to start lighter and move on to a mid color and then a darker one. You will see what I mean as I go along. So here again with the same baby wipe, I didn't even change baby wipes, I'm just dabbing a little bit of color and I'm adding it on two corners. And then I'm just going to move on and add a touch of a darker color. So that's my third color and the darkest of all. And I'm just going to add it here and there again. I'm not trying to cover up what I have underneath, but I want to introduce that color. And you can see how in minutes I end up having a really interesting mixed media background that has brushstrokes, lighter and darker areas. And then since you do have that paint on your glass mat, just grab a stencil and go with that baby wipe over the stencil as well. This is going to give you some interesting patterns, and at the same time it's going to create some visual texture. And I'm doing that with the darker of the colors of my acrylic paints. So this is how it looks, and you can even add more texture, more designs with your stencils. I'm just going to keep it quite subtle for now. I do have some paint on my glass still, so let's do some splatters because why not? I absolutely love them. And this is with the lighter of the colors. I just happen to have that extra on my glass mat. That's what I use. You don't really need to add any extra paint. And now let's play a little bit more with stencils. I have this set by Holtz with 3 Christmas stencils. I think for this background I'm going to go with the one that has the trees and another one with lots of writings. I was going to use my paste, but first let's do some ink blending. I will just use my black ink and just with a blending tool I'm going over some areas completely randomly, and I'm not going for perfection here. Usually I would do this step with stamp, but since I do have lots of sayings, wording on this stencil, I think that would be fine. And as I always say at this stage, I don't know what the composition is going to be on top. Usually I'm just having fun creating backgrounds, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm just having fun, and I started because I wanted to show you the baby wipe technique. But I will just look through my ephemera later on and find something to stick on top. So now I'm going with another stencil, and you know I like introducing some white on my backgrounds, so that's what I'm doing here. I'm using my volume paste and I'm just going to add some here and there, again completely randomly. Usually I go in 3 different areas, creating kind of a visual triangle. So here is how my background looks, and you can follow the same steps with whatever stencils you have and with any color combination. Every time is going to give you a beautiful background. Now since I did my background, let's put together a composition for the top. And I do have this ephemera. This is an ephemera pack by Art by Marlene, and I did use it about a month ago probably on some ATC cards that I made. So I'm trying to pick some fun Christmas images for this page today. And of course, it's not a surprise, I had to use the cat. The cat is holding a drawn fish, and it's also saying naughty or nice, which I think it is adorable. But if you are a dog person, there are many dogs in the pack and also other animals. I am trying to pick one of the frames. This is a pack that I have from last year, I believe. And I am going to create a really simple and quick composition, so I'm going to stick this down. I'm just using my Nuvo Deluxe glue, just use whatever glue you have. And then on top I'm going to stick my cat. Now I wanted to add something extra on this composition to make it look more interesting, so I grabbed an ephemera pack, and this is a pack of from an old Stamperia collection that I had in my stash probably more than 2 years ago, and I'm just going to pick a few holly berries and leaves just to create a small composition at the bottom. Now all the Stamperia ephemera are actually stickers, so you can just peel off the packing. However, just to make sure that they are going to stay put, I'm adding a dab of glue at the back, which is going to allow me to slide them in places exactly where I need them. And to tell you the truth, if it gives you trouble to peel them off, just use glue directly without peeling anything. So now I'm just decorating the bottom of my frame. I'm going to add an extra leaf as well as a couple of candy canes. And I'm not super happy with how it looks. I want to add something extra at the bottom, so I thought why not introduce some gauze. That's medical gauze that I get from the pharmacy, by the way. I get a lot of questions about this product. I like it because it gives some texture, it introduces a different texture actually, but at the same time it doesn't turn anything into being too busy. So I'm just going to add it underneath at the bottom, and that's why I like to stick elements by adding glue only at their centers at the back and not all the way to the edge, so that I can tuck things underneath if I choose to do so. Because you see, I don't have a plan from the beginning, I just go along with the flow and see what works at that point. So I feel like it looks kind of like a snow at the moment, so it is a good addition for that page. I'm going to finish it off by adding some splatters, and I'm using the Splatter Medium by Simon Says Stamp. I find that it is super handy and easy to use, and it gives a great result. Of course, I am using a scrap piece of paper to cover my cat's face. I don't want to have any crazy blobs on the face. And this is where I realized that I forgot to do 2 steps. My doodling with the fine black marker and the highlights with a gel pen. So without being very messy and trying to not to touch all those white splatters, I'm just going to add some sketchy lines around my ephemera here and there. But again, do this step first and then do the splattering because I was too lazy even to just grab my heat gun and make sure that the splatters were dry. Don't ask me why I do things like that, I just go along with the flow. But I had so much fun putting this page together, and I hope that you found the background technique interesting and that you will give it a try. Let me know in the comments if you had fun and if you enjoyed this page today. I hope you will all have a wonderful holiday season. Thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you all next time.